Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to this week's Gold and Silver Club end of week review for the 13th of September 2013. Presented by myself, Phil Carr and Nick Kalsi at the Gold and Silver Club. Today we will be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities markets. We'll be analysing the week's performance. During this live session we will definitely be having a look at an end-of-week summary for gold, silver, oil and the commodity currencies. We'll be looking at our top trades of the week, covering live market commentary, technical analysis. We'll look at the week ahead, so key events looking forward, next week being very important with the FOMC meetings. And we'll also be covering any of your questions as well. So it's been a very interesting week for the gold market. There have been plenty of day trading opportunities again. So let me just talk you through it, the headline news for this week with gold. So the big news being gold has fallen on expectations the Fed will start tapering this month. So gold prices have dropped 3% just yesterday on Thursday, sending the metal to its biggest one-day fall in more than 2 months. Gold price hit their daily low shortly after weekly US jobless claims were released, showing a surprising 31,000 decline in the latest reporting week. So that was the lowest number since 2006. Developments on the gold market are directly linked to what happens on the US labour market, which also influences the central bank's accommodative policy. These numbers, they suggest a slow but steady recovery in the US economy, which might convince the Fed next week to start reducing its stimulus program with an announcement at its upcoming FOMC meeting. So that's going to be next Tuesday and Wednesday on the 17th and 18th of September, which has triggered an early sell-off in gold. So we'll look at the technicals very shortly. There is a lot to cover on the gold and silver markets today. Gold plunged 3% to 1,320 an ounce by the close of New York trading last night. Silver fell 5.11% to 21.99. In fact, they've both fallen further overnight during the Asia Pacific market. So we'll look at those key technical levels very shortly. Traders are looking ahead to next week's FOMC meeting. Consensus is building among the market that the FOMC could begin to taper its $85 billion monthly bond purchasing next week. However, the OPEC jobless claims data and disappointing US non-farm payroll data last week do complicate things to an otherwise optimistic economic outlook. So looking ahead, the big question is definitely, will gold and silver continue to fall ahead of the FOMC meeting? So we want to have a look at key news coming out today and key technical levels moving forward. So I'm Phil Carr, professional trader, trainer and speaker. I'm the co-founder and director of the Gold and Silver Club. I specialize in teaching people how to make money from trading the most lucrative financial markets in the world, gold, silver, oil and the commodity currencies. I've trained thousands of individuals to become independent traders and successfully manage their own investment portfolio. I'm responsible for the research and development of the Gold and Silver Club trademark strategies that have a proven track record of generating returns for traders, and also a regular contributor to a number of financial publications, speaking at numerous trading seminars, webinars and workshops. Joining me on the call, Nick Kalsi, professional trader, investment analyst and speaker. Nick began his career within private wealth management in 2002 before making the transition into proprietary trading. Prior to co-founding the Gold and Silver Club, Nick spent over 5 years coaching professional fund managers and traders internationally for some of the world's top-tier hedge funds and investment banks. Through his first-hand relationship with some of the world's most successful traders, he discovered the formula, mindset and tools that give any individual the definitive edge to trade in any economy. Also regularly writes for a number of global business and financial publications, and we both appeared frequently on financial television. So that's a little bit about ourselves, guys. So moving on, let's have a look at the gold price this morning. So gold looking very interesting right now. Currently at $1,312 an ounce and 12 cents. So we are getting a little bit of a bounce off some key levels this morning, but we'll be looking at that very shortly. So let me run you through what we're looking at today. So the US dollar index, we'll have a look at my charts very shortly on this. We did see weakness in the US dollar index yesterday. We are getting a little bit of a bounce just this morning, actually, to the upside. So we'll take a look at the US dollar index and see how that's performing. That certainly helped the commodity currencies this week, Australian US dollar and New Zealand US dollar, to put in a bit of a rally over the last few days, and we've seen this sell-off in the US dollar index follow through with USD Canadian dollar. Moving on to our top trades of the week, using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategy. So there's been a number of opportunities since last Friday's non-farm payroll. So first of all, USD Canadian dollar took some position that we got into last week, and which really came into significant profits on Friday. This was entering at a key level of resistance there, and also a box setup where we broke through 1.0505 entry level there, and non-farm payroll really helped to push this significantly down to our profit target. This was a swing trade profit target down to 1.0383 for 122 pip trade. This really followed through with the US dollar index selling off significantly as well. So the risk on that was quite tight, 26 pips risk, so $260 risk for each lot traded, for a profit of 122 pips. So 1,220 pips was the profit on that, for a 4-to-1 risk to reward on USD Canadian dollar. Moving on next, last week we had on Friday's, this was after our webinar in the morning, we saw a breakout. We're actually looking at this, we were assessing it in the morning as well on FX Street, and we can see here where we did get a breakout above that 109 key resistance level, and this followed through during non-farm payroll. We came all the way up and spiked to a key level, 1110.65. We actually hit that with pinpoint accuracy about 6 o'clock GMT in the afternoon, for a profit of 165 pips on WTI. The risk was 75 pips, so $750 risk, for a profit of 165 pips, so $1,650 on each lot traded there, for a 2-to-1. The next opportunity that we had was silver. So silver has really just continued to break through key levels this week, and so has gold. So there's been some huge moves over, particularly yesterday as well. So this was a move that we got just a little bit earlier on in the week. We came down to a key level of support, which then turned resistance. Moving averages all confirming a move and confirming resistance level at $23 an ounce. So we got in at 22.99, and the risk on that trade was 25 pips, and we just literally traded that back down to a key Fibonacci level just below at 22.29, which it hit with pinpoint accuracy, and we've then actually had more trading opportunities to sell short just yesterday as well. The profit on that was 70 pips. The risk on that was 25 pips, so $250 US dollars for 70 pips profit. So $250 was the risk on each lot traded, for $700 profit, for a 3-to-1 on silver. Gold, we've had some really nice opportunities selling short gold this week as we've continued to break through technical levels. So during this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, we had a very small, you can see there, doji on the daily time frame. We had confirmation of a sell short when we broke through the 1356 level of support, and we came down to just, you can see there on my chart, just came down right down to the next key fib level, 1334, for a profit of 220 pips, right down to a key moving average. So the risk on that was 60 pips. Each lot traded $600 risk for 2,200 pips. 220 pips for $2,200 profit, for a 3-to-1 as we just sold short down to that fib level. And then overnight, just let's have a look if we've got this on there. There we go. Overnight, we actually had another opportunity to sell short just yesterday, which was when we came. The 1333 key level broke. We then got a retracement back to that level, and then an opportunity to sell short 1329, and we just hit our profit target overnight at 1310. So we've been hovering around that level just this morning. We're hovering there at the moment, so we're interested to see if we're going to break down further today. But that was a nice trade just overnight from yesterday. So 190 pips profit on that trade, 50 pips risk, so $500 risk, for 190 pips profit, for a 4-to-1. And silver's actually just come in this morning as well, which we'll talk you through too. Okay, so with that, guys, I'm going to take you on to before we go over major news and so on, we're going to look at some live technical analysis. I'm going to take you across to my charts, and we'll take a look at what the markets are doing this morning. Okay, so bear with me as I just switch screens. And if there are any questions, do put those in the chat or the Q&A. Okay, so just taking you to the Gold and Silver Club. This is the custom-built Reuters news trading platform. So just the bottom right-hand corner here, we've got the US dollar index, and we can see where this has had a lot of weakness over the last week. We've come down to around the 81.3 level here on the US dollar index. At the moment, yesterday we had a bit of a doji on the daily time frame, causing some indecision in the commodity currencies, New Zealand US dollar, Australian US dollar, which are at key levels of resistance at the moment. And we can see just today that we have an inverse hammer on the daily. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the news today, core retail sales, PPI, is going to, how that's going to move the US dollar index later, and what we'll see in terms of gold and silver moves and the commodity currencies. If we just go to the top right-hand corner here, we can just see the big movers and shakers of the day. We can see silver down 2%, gold down 1.89%, oil taking a bit of a pullback, and New Zealand US dollar, the dollar index, and CAD finding a little bit of strength this morning. So with that, we're going to move across to my technical charts. Let's just start off with, okay, we're going to start off with gold here. Bear with me as I bring this chart across for you. Okay, so moving across the gold, here we can see where we've just continued to break through key levels throughout this week. So we broke through the 1356 level, or 1353. 1356 was a break of some key support this week, and we've just seen the gold price tumble. It's come down to 1333 level, where it did find some support just yesterday. Then we continue to break through that. We've got a retracement back to 1331, and then overnight we've come down and we've hit another profit target of just around 1310 to 1307 level. So gold at the moment, it is getting a little bit of a bounce where we are. If we get it down, break it down to the 4-hour time frame, just bear with me as we do that. We can see, actually even the 1 hour probably give you a better indication here. We can see a couple of hammers forming there on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. Currently, nothing too major. We might just see this on profit taking at the moment. The daily candle, certainly yesterday's daily candle, looked incredibly bearish. The daily candle at the moment, still quite bearish. Would be very interested to see if today, if we're going to get a follow through and we're going to continue to break through the 1310 and 1307 level. If we do and we get continued selling over the US session, so in 2 hours time we've got core retail sales and PPI. So if we do see the US dollar index, if it does get a little bit of a rally from here, we could see certainly further weakness in gold and silver. So if we do break through the 1307 level, we could then see the price come down to the 1300s, and then 1297 being quite an important level here. And if we get a break of that, we then could get certainly some stops hit, and we could see the price very quickly come down to around the 1276 level and 1272. That would be the next key levels on gold if we continue the sell-off today ahead of next week's FOMC meeting. So this is really what we're looking at, potential for the market to come down today to test 1297, and if we do get a follow through with that, we could then see quite quick short and sharp move down to the 1276 and 1272 level. Now, if we do get a retracement today and we see some buying occur, we'll be very interested to see again the 1333 level, whether that provides resistance, and we see more. We can see that all the key moving averages looking very bearish here. If we go out to the weekly time frame on gold as well, that's looking very bearish too. You can see 2 weeks ago we had a big pin bar on the daily time frame. Last week we got a doji. This week, huge, big sell, very bearish bar on the weekly time frame here. And you can see really the next key levels are going to be around the 1276. There's not really too much previous support where we are right now, around 1312. So probably more support is going to be around the 1297 level, around this key level, and then below that is the 1276. So that's what we're looking at the moment. And any potential moves to the upside here, we'll be looking at potential resistance at 1333 and potential sell shorts, short sellers coming back in and pushing the price down. So that's what we'll be looking at today on gold. Moving across to silver here. Silver looking very interesting at the moment. Bounced off just a key Fibonacci today. So we can see yesterday we actually broke through a key level as well, the 22. So look at that 22.30 level, and we came all the way down, hit our profit target just this morning. We had two profit targets there, 21.52 being one of them. We've come down, we've hit a key moving average, and at the moment we are seeing a little bit of a doji form on the daily time frame. So a little bit of indecision here in the market, probably awaiting further news this afternoon. So silver, if we get a continuation, it can come down and break below about 21.38 this morning. This key level of support, key fib level, key moving average. We could then see the price probably come down to the next key level, which was going to take us down to around 20.83 and 20.60. So what we'll be looking at. If we find some support where we are at the moment, we would then be looking at, be very interested to see if we're going to get a retracement just back like we did last night over the Asia Pacific session, back to around the 22.33, and we'll see how the price, how it reacts once it gets to that resistance level, and we'll see if previous support now becomes a level of resistance. We see further opportunities to sell short. But certainly, just looking at all the key moving averages and the overall trend here, still looking very bearish at the moment, ahead of FOMC next week. So that's what we're looking at on silver. So I'm going to move across and we're going to look at some of the commodity currencies for you. Okay, so moving across to the commodity currencies here. Okay, so let me just clear up this screen a little bit for you. Okay, so New Zealand US dollar at the moment still putting in quite a strong run on New Zealand US dollar. We can see we're actually coming towards 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth test of this quite important level of resistance. There is a Fibonacci level just above, and a key is a 200-day moving average just above here, which is going to be quite important. If the New Zealand US dollar can break above this level and continue the rally today, we then could see some breakouts to the upside. So we're going to be monitoring that very closely. We can see a nice strong hammer there on the daily time frame. News this afternoon, core retail sales and PPI could give us certainly more direction in a couple of hours' time, and see if we do get a breakout to the upside here. If we also, this is definitely an event area, so we're looking at either two things to happen, either a breakout or a potential reversal here. We may see some longs start to take some profit around these key levels of resistance on New Zealand US dollar, but we are getting very close. We're about 30 pips away from a very key level of resistance. So we'll be interested to see whether we're going to get some opportunities either to sell short for counter trend trades, or whether we're going to get a breakout, and the breakout look for us to come to the next key level, which is circa around about, so look, about 100 pips away. So we could get a breakout and a quick 100 pip move to the next key Fibonacci level there. That's what we're looking at on New Zealand US dollar at the moment. That's definitely one to watch today. Okay, so moving on to Australian US dollar. Australian US dollar, we did find some selling. We had some selling off yesterday, but we've only just come down and we've retested some key moving averages here that have provided support, and also finding support at a Fibonacci level as well. So it looks like for the time being, Australian US dollar, any sell-offs have been taken as buying opportunities. You can see a hammer there forming on the daily time frame. We can see yesterday we only came down and we just tested some key MAs, but we also found support there. We are, however, Australian US dollar has still got some work to do for a continuation of this breakout. I'd really like to see Australian US dollar break through 0.93736 in order for it to come about another, probably really not much resistance for another 130 odd pips. If we can break through that key level, that will also be breaking through, be a 3-month high for Australian US dollar. We'll also, if we get any retests of that key resistance level, we'll be looking for any potential sell short opportunities as well. Although we do know the momentum at the moment is quite strong to the upside. We're above a lot of key moving averages, and we seem to be pullbacks at the moment are being treated as buying opportunities. So Australian US dollar, again, a key event area is definitely going to be just at the high, yesterday's high here, and just above that 0.93736 is really going to be important. So Australian US dollar, definitely one to be watching today. USD Canadian dollar. So we can see USD Canadian dollar, very similar situation really to the US dollar index today. So you can see, these charts are incredibly similar. You've got an inverse hammer on the daily time frame on the US dollar index, the doji yesterday with indecision, and on the daily at the moment with USD Canadian dollar, we've got the same situation. The doji yesterday, hammer on the daily. All the key moving averages are pointing towards further weakness. We'd like to see yesterday's low breached in order for this to have a continuation and come down to other key support levels at 1.02651 and 1.0252. So definitely some indecision yesterday, inverse hammer there on the daily. So if we do continue to have weakness here, that's what we'll be looking at potentially for yesterday's low to be broken and for us to come down to these next key levels. If we do see some buying here on, depending on the news which comes out in 2 hours from the US, we could then see just a retest of some key MAs here, and we could come back up to 1.0336 level here, and we'll be looking to see how the price is going to react around that key level of resistance. So USD CAD also looking interesting at the moment, although there seems to be more scope at the moment. We're seeing fairly small moves. Last week was really a big move to catch, and we had that huge sell-off, and that's just turned into a really nice swing trade as we've continued to come down and hit key price levels, key Fibonacci levels here as the price has continued down. So we're not really seeing too much in terms of daily volatility on USD CAD at the moment. So probably more so going to be looking at New Zealand US dollar, Australian US dollar, certainly also gold and silver today, definitely the ones to be watching. Looking at Brent at the moment, Brent, no surprises here, found some resistance at key moving averages as well. We are at the moment, Brent is looking, we did find support at the 109.35 level a little bit earlier on this week. We can see that from Tuesday where we found support there, offered a buy opportunity for around 150 pips, and now looking a little bit indecisive. Although we have found some support here, you can see just on the daily we're getting higher highs, but we are finding some resistance here just at the 111 level. So Brent, we're going to be interested, just coming actually down and retesting the 110.85 level, which is in the 4 hour time frame. Yeah, we're getting a bit of a hammer supporting that around the 110.83 level there. So we'll be keeping an eye on Brent today, not looking as lucrative as gold and silver and Australian US dollar and New Zealand US dollar, but that's going to be one to keep an eye on as well. See if we're going to get support here, see if we can break through 111 in order to get back up to 112.31 and potentially 113. And also moving across to WTI. WTI, similar to Brent at the moment, found support at a key fib level 105.54 earlier on this week. I've actually got a tweezer set up. We found price rallied to 108.08, giving a quick day trade there. We've seen some profit taking and a little bit of indecision really on this market at the moment as well. So no real clear setups on Brent and WTI at the moment. It's going to be more about gold, silver, Australian US dollar and New Zealand US dollar in terms of the commodities and commodity currencies today. Okay, so with that, guys, we're just going to have a look, see if there's any questions that have come through. Okay, excellent. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to move across and we're going to have a look at key news moving forward over the course of today and moving into next week as well. Okay, so the key news that we want to be watching out for is going to be today at 1:30 p.m. GMT, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We've got US core retail sales, and that measures the change in the total value of sales at the retail level, excluding automobiles. It's an important indicator of consumer spending and is considered a pace indicator for the US economy. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. So that's going to be important this afternoon. We've got 2:55 p.m. We've got US Michigan consumer sentiment. Now that index rates the relative level of current and future economic conditions. So there are two versions of this data released 2 weeks apart, the preliminary and revised. The preliminary data tends to have a greater impact. That reading is compiled from a survey of around 500 consumers. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar. A lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. Then we have the NY Empire State Manufacturing Index. And that's going to be on Monday. So moving into next week, Monday at 1:30 p.m. GMT, 8:30 a.m. ET. And that index rates the relative level of general business conditions by New York State. So level above 0 indicates improving conditions, below indicates worsening conditions. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish. And next week we also have on Tuesday we've got the US core CPI. Now the core CPI, the consumer price index, measures changes in the price of goods and services, excluding food and energy. CPI measures price change from the perspective of the consumer. It's a key way to measure changes in purchasing trends and inflation. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. Then, of course, next week, for those of you who trade crude oil, we have more important news coming out on Wednesday. We have US crude oil inventories. That data reports the number of barrels of crude oil commercial firms have in inventory. Commercial firms report their inventory levels to the Energy Information Administration on a weekly basis. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bearish for crude oil, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bullish. And that is very important for the price of crude oil. There's often day trade opportunities on that news announcement. Of course, next Wednesday, we have the very important FOMC statement, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. ET. The FOMC committee is responsible for setting interest rates and deciding on the current and future direction of central banks' monetary policy. So a press conference is held following the release of the FOMC minutes with Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke. His comments may determine a positive or negative impact on US dollar and precious metals. So we can already see a sell-off occurring ahead of the FOMC meeting, with a lot of speculation about tapering back. So we'll be definitely very interested. That's a high impact announcement next Wednesday, which I would definitely recommend if you are available to trade that. You keep an eye on that news announcement, because that's going to be very high impact for gold, silver, and the Forex markets as well. Next Thursday, the 19th of September, we have the US existing home sales. That report measures the change in the annualized number of existing residential buildings that were sold during the previous month. That report helps to gauge the strength of the US housing market and is a key indicator of overall economic strength. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. Then next Thursday, 19th of September, we have the US natural gas storage. That information coming from the Energy Information Agency is that natural gas storage report measuring the change in the number of cubic feet of natural gas held in underground storage during the past week. So while this is a US indicator, it does tend to have a greater impact on the CAD due to Canada's sizable energy sector. It's important because the CAD is correlated to gold and oil price, so that's a significant announcement. And next Friday, the 20th, for those of you trading CAD2, we have the CAD CPI, and that measures the change in the price of goods and services, excluding food and energy from the perspective of the consumer. It's a key way to measure changes in purchasing trends and inflation. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the CAD, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the CAD. So those are the key news announcements over the course of today and moving into next week too. And of course, for those of you who would like to find out more about the Gold and Silver Club live trading room, we will be holding 2 sessions next week. You can find out more about the Gold and Silver Club live trading session, how to get the exact charts that we use and optimize for your trading and using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategies. You can find out more about that and request live information, request information on the Gold and Silver Club live trading room at the following link. That's just www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, or you can contact us our London office 0207 193 0403, or New York office at +1 646 808 0403, or our Johannesburg office at +27 11083 8403. Or if you've got any questions at all, you can see a lot of questions coming across in the chat there, feel free to get in contact with us at office@thegoldandsilverclub.com. So very simply, if you are interested in the live trading room program, just go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com, complete the form and request additional information. And of course, do make sure you take advantage of our free weekly newsletter at thegoldandsilverclub.com for gold, silver, oil, commodity currency news, live market analysis and prices. Okay, so with that, guys, we definitely wish you good luck for the rest of today's trading. Should be a quite lucrative day. Got a number of key news announcements coming out later. And if you'd like to get any more information at all from us, do feel free to get in touch. Okay, so take care, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you same time next week. Okay, take care, and bye-bye. Cheers, guys. Bye.